Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
A Football Friday edition of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo. We got Damian Perez filling in behind the glass at the Steady Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. You can watch us, see our pretty faces there. Also on your radio dial, ESPN 106.3. Got a packed 2-hour program ahead. Obviously, we got a packed slate of college football and the NFL through the weekend. MLB division races getting a little tight, especially wild card races. And you had some Thursday night football last night on Amazon Prime with the Green Bay Packers taking down the Washington Commanders convincingly, 27-18 final score. Green Bay started out hot. Commanders got essentially nothing to get going offensively in that first half, and they never had the chance outside of that first quarter. They never had a chance to get the ball within one score. So it was a one-sided affair. It was a boring-ish game. But one thing it did tell you is that Green Bay is really good. Green Bay is really good. That defense will put the offensively, they played well, but it was defensively where they just shut down Jaden Daniels basically for the entirety of the game. Jaden Daniels has an ability to stay comfortable or to look comfortable when he's playing poorly. And that's exactly what you saw last night as the Packers really took it to them on their home field against the Washington Commanders. Mike, initial takeaway, Commanders not good or Green Bay's really good?
I think it's the latter. Green Bay's really good, and I was part of the, I guess, contingency that, let's pump the brakes. Let's not give Green Bay the preseason Super Bowl trophy. Let's have them prove it on the field that they're the best team, or rather one of the best teams in the NFL with Micah Parsons, Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur. I don't even think the defense played unbelievable. Jordan Love, I think, made the plays to win, but they really had a chance to bury Washington throughout the course of the game. If I can nitpick a little bit on Love, the first drive, I really don't understand why they went so quick on that fourth down. It was like 4th and 3. They went for it, decided not to take points. Jordan Love threw it about 5 yards behind Matthew Golden in the end zone. He threw it in front of him. Would have been a touchdown. And then when it was 14-3 and the Packers had to settle for 3, I thought Love missed the throw there. I thought they could have buried them relatively early, but it just shows how good the defense is. I wasn't even worried when it was 17-10. Like, even when it was a one-score game in the second half, I wasn't worried at all that Green Bay was going to lose that game. Like, that's my big takeaway was I thought Green Bay was just in full control the whole game. And I thought that first half, and granted, Colin, from what I've seen on Red Zone and the big games that the Commanders have been over the last year, that was probably one of the worst halves of football I've seen Jaden Daniels play. I mean, they got nothing offensively outside of those 3 points in the second quarter. I think Green Bay's defense is good. I think the offense is coming along, and I think Matt LaFleur is one of the better head coaches in the league. And we talked yesterday about the 1B team in the NFC to the Eagles. Colin, I think Green Bay proved it by their offense kind of playing average and the defense playing unbelievable and then winning by 2 scores against a team that went to the NFC title game last year.
Could you even script up a better 2-game start for Green Bay? And Green Bay's got an early bye this year, but their schedule sort of loosens up after these first 2 games. They took it to a team that was probably the NFC favorite throughout the season in the Detroit Lions in that first game. And then all of a sudden, the team that made it to the NFC title game, they took it to them and basically made both games uncompetitive. I don't know if you could draw up a better start to the season than what Green Bay was able to accomplish in the last 5 days. On a short week, too, Jaden Daniels, the way I looked at it, he looked confidently lost. Confidently lost. They could get nothing going. And, that pass rush obviously makes a difference. He's scrambling. Micah Parsons is definitely a factor. But it was a lot of, batted down passes and not necessarily having your timing right. Jaden Daniels did absolutely nothing in the game. He was bad. He was really bad.
And his stats don't tell you that, but I agree with you. He did not look the part. The 202 and 2 touchdowns spare me with that. I mean, I completely agree with Colin in the sense of the first half, you scored 3 points, and you were never in the game. And spare me with the 17-10 stuff if people want to talk about that.
Well, that was
you never thought that they were going to lose that game.
You get a little nervous because you're letting them hang around. And this is what Washington has made a living on the past, I would say, 17, 18 games. They got an ability to hang around. They got short-term memory loss. They don't necessarily dwell on if they've played poorly previously. They could rumble back into the game. So once you sort of let them crawl down the field to score that first touchdown of the game to make it 17-10, you get a little nervous because you're thinking of all the missed opportunities that Green Bay has had. But that 17-10 drive was the drive of the game to make it 24-10, because that's when you could sense in the building that maybe Green Bay was getting a little uptight. And Matt LaFleur, that's when he got into his bag of tricks. That's when he did the fake rollout with Seth Williams or whoever the guy, whatever his name is, Seth something Williams. And he had the fake out to Jordan Love. That's when you were doing the end arounds and spacing everything out. He's a bag of tricks coach, and he pulled it out exactly when he needed to. And that was when they needed a big chunk play to sort of alleviate some of the pressure of putting them away. And I give them a lot of credit because that the second drive of the fourth quarter to make it 24-10 was the drive of the game. That won them the game for them. And that was when LaFleur was completely confident in their ability to execute trick plays and creativity that sort of he got from that Shanahan system. So that was the biggest series of the game. And you got to give Green Bay a lot of credit for burying them and putting them away, because a lot of teams sort of would have gotten tight in that spot. There's probably another team in Chicago that probably would have gotten tight in that spot, but Green Bay put them away. That's exactly what you were looking for, and they showed you all the right keys. Mike said it. Jordan Love played well. He did. He was good on his out routes, especially. He was very good deep down the sideline, and a couple missed throws. But I mean, for a rushing attack that was solid, Jordan Love and especially the tight ends, Tucker Kraft, I mean, dominated.
Right.
Dominated the game. He is an operator. He doesn't necessarily, he is not a savior. He's an operator. And that's the best way he could possibly play football. Be an operator of the offense. Be a Jared Goff. Got to give Green Bay credit. They're very dangerous. That's a wagon right now.
They are. And the only thing you could say about Love that are nitpicky things. He had a great game, 292, 2 touchdowns. You mentioned
200 yards in the first half.
You mentioned Tucker Kraft, too. I mean, is that the birth of an elite tight end coming up this year in the ranks in the NFL for a $124, Kyle, and a touchdown? And not to mention that run game. That's 11 straight games Josh Jacobs has had a rushing touchdown in an NFL game. Incredible streak for him, too. I mentioned the complimentary football all week with Green Bay. I think you really saw that again. I think you saw that, and they missed a field goal before half. You know, you can nitpick that as well. It was a deep field goal, but they missed a field goal at half. But top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams really played well. And I wrote down on my notes here, Kyle, my pre-show notes. It's crow time, mate. It's crow time for me and the Parsons and that whole deal
he
because
makes such
he was
a noticeable difference.
I mean, it is unbelievable. How many holding calls? I tried keeping track. I counted 3 direct offensive holds or illegal hands to the face throughout the game. There might have been more, but I was trying to keep it in my notes on my cell phone throughout the game. There were 3 different instances where Micah Parsons drew a 15 to 10-yard penalty on the offense, just setting Jaden Daniels and Washington behind the sticks. Something to be said how great that young man is. And I thought he handled the questions well after the game. I don't know how much you watched the post game, but they asked him about the fans screaming, "Thank you, Jerry," and whatnot. I thought he handled that like a true professional as well after that ugly situation. I mean, it is truly a good time to be a Green Bay Packer fan.
They're very dangerous. That's definitely the second best team in the NFC, bar none. And all the other so-called great teams in the NFC haven't shown you a ton. Jury's still out on Dallas, and if they're any good, and then Washington through 2. I mean, maybe Green Bay is just that good. Maybe Washington is still a great team, but, you know, they lost Austin Eckler for the whole season yesterday. This is going to be a very weird season for Washington because they're not necessarily going to have that same luck and same favor as they had last year. And that sophomore slump comes for a lot of players. Not saying it's happening, but film's out. You're not surprising anybody this year. People know what to expect with that Washington offense coming in. They know what to expect. especially with Jaden Daniels.
And they kind of neutralized him in the run game, too, Kyle. I mentioned yesterday to you, I don't think he's going to be able to scramble around 11 times for 68 like he did against the Giants. I mean, they were closing him down whenever he tried to leave that pocket. He had 7 attempts for 17 yards. So this was a Green Bay defense that was disciplined. They keyed in on their keys on defense, and you got to give a ton of credit to not only Micah Parsons, but even that secondary. I mean, that secondary was like a blanket in that first half, only giving up 3 points.
And that was the biggest question of the team coming in. You have Xavier McKinney, who is obviously the proven commodity, but, relying on Carrington Valentine without Jair Alexander in there was a big question mark of the team. And they've done a good job, especially in that front seven, which has been opened up because of Parsons' arrival. And now that secondary, they sit back. They sort of keep everything in front of them. You got to assume that the quarterback's not going to have a ton of time. You saw that last night. And that defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, who they hired randomly. It was a bizarre hire because he was the head coach at Boston College about a year and a half ago. And then all of a sudden they bring him in to be the defensive coordinator of the Packers. That guy's going to get offers. That guy will get head coaching offers if they keep this up.
Agreed.
That is probably a future head coach sooner rather than later, Jeff Hafley, in terms of how well he's done with this Green Bay defense, because that's always been an offense by committee, and it was. You can't rely on never draft a Packer outside of the running back in fantasy, at least in the past 5 years. Never draft a Packer. And that's it. That was evident last night. You were high on the rookie receiver, did nothing.
Right. And Jaden Reed went out.
Well, Jaden Reed had a great play, and then he was hurt. So they have too many guys, and they're unafraid to spread it around. He completed a pass to 10 different receivers in week 1. They will beat you by committee. That is the ultimate operator offense. They do exactly what they need to, but Green Bay still has those dark clouds over them. Hopefully they don't run into San Francisco in the playoffs. That's all you can imagine. But that team is a playoff team, and that team is an NFC contention team at least through 2 weeks.
You mentioned San Francisco. I think a lot of that has to do with Shanahan because he knows LaFleur so well. Let's stay there with LaFleur and the Shanahan and the McVay conversation. Like, out of those three guys, Kyle, McVay, Shanahan, LaFleur, where are you putting LaFleur? Where are you ranking LaFleur with those three Mike Shanahan coaching
Kyle
tree
Shanahan.
coaches? Ultimately came from, it is Kyle came from Mike, so like I kind of put him in the Mike.
McVay's the best coach of the bunch. McVay's one, and then Shanahan's been to the big one twice. LaFleur is sort of the one that still has a bit to prove in the postseason. Up, though? He still has a bit to prove in the postseason.
I think he has the most momentum out of those. Recency bias, obviously.
They got the youngest team. You got to give that. Let's think about the Packers for a second and how they've sort of regrouped in the past ever since Aaron Rodgers left. Ever since Aaron Rodgers left, the big problem with them, at least in Aaron Rodgers' eyes, when they were doing this little media war, this turf war, was they never gave Aaron Rodgers enough offensively to, satiate him. They always had that great one receiver. They had Randall Cobb and a handful of others, of a revolving door. Aaron Rodgers gets out of town. They look towards Jordan Love. And in those 3 seasons since Love has been a starter, what they have done is they made a big signing in Josh Jacobs as a free agent. They went and got Xavier McKinney, the safety from the Giants. They weren't afraid to get rid of Jair Alexander. They traded for Micah Parsons, which is not something that Green Bay usually does. And they've drafted high-round receivers in 2 of the last 3 drafts with Jaden Reed, I believe was a second-rounder. And they got, this year, Matthew Golden in the first round, which they hadn't done in 22 years.
Yeah.
Green Bay reloaded and reframed how they view constructing rosters. You got to get that to me, I think, is the big underlying theme of this team. They're so young. Everybody knows they're so young. It was 2 years ago after they beat Dallas in that playoff game, and everybody's talking about, this young receiving core. Don't touch it. This young receiving core, do not touch it. And what they did is you get Jaden Reed in there, you get Matthew Golden in there. You're not afraid to make additions in that young receiving core, because it wasn't just Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks that were going to carry you. It was 6 of them, and they got different tight ends in there. They've never been afraid. They haven't, in the last 3 years, they haven't been afraid to add. Brian Gutekunst, the general manager, one of the most underrated general managers in the league, but you got to give him credit for changing his tune the second Rodgers got out of town in terms of roster control.
Dare I say, it seemed like they were waiting for him to leave for all this to fall together. Like waiting for the contract maybe to come off the books and to get more money. And obviously they ended up paying Jordan Love, a year after the first year?
Yep.
But it like from the outside looking in, it's like they were waiting for Rodgers to move on and go.
They just changed
until
how they did it.
Yeah, until they and they completely fundamentally changed. Once he left, they completely and fundamentally changed how they operate. I couldn't agree more there.
It's bizarre. It really is. It almost is a little petty. It seems a little petty. But Green Bay's done such a good job at getting young and basically being a committee on both sides. You got to and they've hired well. They develop well, they hire well. Got to give Green Bay a ton of credit. It's almost sick how well run of an organization that is.
And I'm tired of hearing about it, if I'm being honest.
They're such a well-run organization. They're a publicly owned team. That is America's team. Whether you like it or not, that's America's team.
It's not Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the only publicly owned NFL franchise. They've had
maybe that's why.
Mark Murphy's been there forever. He's had Gutekunst has been there for a while.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, since they're publicly owned, maybe that's why they're so good. I mean, so many times you see these gung-ho owners just try to do a little bit too much. You know, my owner, Jimmy Haslam in Cleveland, that guy certainly tries to do too much.
They got the right people to delegate. Oh, it's perfect. They get the right president. They got the right general manager. They are very lucky with the coaching hires. They've done such a good job with that.
I love Jerry, but I understand the flaws there with Jerry Jones. So, like,
it's another cook in the kitchen, but it's a cook with superseding authority.
Right.
They are a well-run machine.
Yeah.
Offensively, all the way down to the players. And that's why people like to go get people with the Packer way attached to them, because the Packers are, they're classy. They do it the right way. They're not afraid to let quarterbacks sit and sort of marinate. Green Bay is going to be very dangerous throughout the year. And the thing about Love that you get nervous is, how is Love going to respond when he needs to win them a game? But when he could play from ahead and when he could play sort of stress-free and operate the offense, Love's really good.
Yeah.
But the problem is, we haven't seen it enough times. Can Love will the team along? Jared Goff would crumble whenever the actual expectations fell onto him and him only.
Herbert.
He's very good when the pressure's not on.
Yeah.
He's very reliable when the pressure's not on. Love is sort of the same way. So I think the jury's out in terms of how is Love going to respond when this team is eventually tested. But to where we are right now, Green Bay has got to be one of the big contenders, one of the main contenders in the NFL, not just the NFC.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, it's 1A with the Eagles, 1B with the Cowboys, and I think the tier splits off from there. Now, we're going to see what Philly's made of, too, against Kansas City. By the way, Kansas City, for the first time, Mahomes has played 68 home games. This is only the second time that the Chiefs, with Patrick Mahomes in a home game, are underdogs. So I think that speaks volumes to how good Philadelphia is still, even after losing some things on that Super Bowl defense. But it's 1A Philly, 1B Packers, and maybe some other teams, maybe a Tampa Bay, maybe someone from the West if it's the Niners or the Rams. But right now, those are the two teams you're gunning for in the NFC.
We'll go through that Week 2 schedule coming up, and we'll also get into who's on upset watch, who is going to be establish themselves, who's that dominant week looking ahead to be. We'll make a couple predictions in regard to that. We got to make a couple picks. Of course, we'll get into the college slate, which is coming up tomorrow. Florida LSU being a highlight, Georgia Tennessee being a highlight, Notre Dame, one of the bigger games Notre Dame's had in years in the regular season. In danger, I should say, of falling down to 0-2, which would inevitably end their season. So we'll get into that. Of course, we got a lot to do here, and you can follow along with what we are doing and also what the other shows and what the high school coverage and Inter Miami is on the ESPN South Florida app. You can download it on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. ESPN South Florida app, you could stream live ESPN 106.3. You could stream live the Inter Miami broadcasts. You could stream live basically anything and just about everything South Florida in one spot. It's free to download. You can do it today on the App Store. Go download it, the ESPN South Florida app. Russo and Rizzo taking a time out here on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Get ready, South Florida. It's the 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at FAU's Flagler Credit Union Stadium. Two of the best group of 5 teams go head-to-head in the ultimate holiday showdown. Over 150 players have gone from this field to the NFL. Who's next? Visit BocaRatonBowl.com for the latest, including when tickets will go on sale. The 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl, Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at Flagler Credit Union Stadium.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, proudly representing the residents of South Florida since 1985, and proud supporter of Inter Miami on ESPN West Palm. Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath has attorneys across South Florida ready to fight for your rights. They've recovered billions for their clients, and you won't pay anything unless you win your case. If you have been injured, call the attorneys at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, 561-867-4117, or online at foryourrights.com. Main office in West Palm Beach.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
We want to see you in a Greenway Kia. Are you tired of the hassle of buying a car? At Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, we're changing the game. No pushy salespeople here, just friendly product specialists on salary here to help you find the perfect ride. With over 500 vehicles in stock and a goal to sell 250 by month's end, that means incredible deals are waiting for you. Forget the back and forth negotiations. Once you pick your dream Kia, you'll work with one manager the entire time, making decisions on the spot for a smooth, stress-free experience. We'll even handle the paperwork, your tags, insurance, and every detail. Need help learning all the features? We'll schedule a post-delivery session when it's convenient for you. And if you can't make it in, we'll bring a new Kia right to your home or office for a test drive. Plus, for a limited time, you'll see the factory invoice right on the windshield of every car in the showroom. Visit Greenway Kia today or shop online at GreenwayKiaWestPalmBeach.com.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Whether it's a clutch touchdown pass, a game-winning dunk, or an impressive dash to the finish, we want to highlight the best performance of the week. The winning performance will receive $500 courtesy of Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Catch the biggest moments and winners all season long on ESPN 106.3 and ESPN West Palm Play. Nominate them today by emailing highschool@espnwestpalm.com. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Welcome to being treated like a pro.
She ain't gon' tie me down. Why you on the road? Got it on the shirt, saw the hat, saw the clothes. What you got?
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
The Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, we're sitting in it. If you've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys are the type to fight for you. They don't even charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you that maximum compensation that you deserve. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. If you're driving around here in this terrible rainstorms that we've been having, especially in the afternoon, you accidentally get into a fender bender, whatever it might be. It just takes that one phone call to take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation today. Call 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Damian Perez. 888-760-3776. That's 888-760-3776. Number to get into the program. Of the teams that are coming in this weekend, we got a packed week 2 slate on the NFL side of things. Probably one with the most grim outlook of the team, even through 1 week, because they held a players-only meeting earlier today. Usually do players-only meetings if the team is, 4-game losing skid, 3 games in a row, falling out of the playoff picture. All of a sudden, you're 4-7 after you were 4-4. You're nervous. The Miami Dolphins held a players-only meeting this week before week 2. After week 1 of the season, they decided to have a players-only meeting, which is usually DEFCON 1.
Guess what? They needed it.
That's bizarre.
They were down 30-0 to Daniel Jones. I understand it was a road game. The Colts are better and people give them credit for. But to be down 30-0.
A players-only meeting in week 1 of the season is pathetic. Pathetic.
They needed it.
That is a joke.
That was my initial reaction. I agree with you, but they needed it. They looked like crap.
That is a joke. First, let's not have the coaches in here. Let's get on the same page. Get on the same page. We just started.
Yeah.
You got 16 games to go.
Don't worry. Mike McDaniel, he's from that Kyle Shanahan coaching tree we were talking about last segment. He'll figure it out, right?
That has got to be the most grim outlook in the league at the moment. You think the Browns are bad? You think the Titans are bad? You think the Panthers are bad? Nothing is worse than Miami. Players only meeting. Usually players only meeting is, in direct response to culture issues and players not wanting to be there and
lack of effort.
Find out who the leaders are. Effort-based stuff, culture-based stuff. This is a reflection of McDaniel just as much. A players-only meeting tells you that the head coach has not been able to establish that sense of urgency amongst his own meetings. And it's up to the players to do that. That's what that tells you.
Yeah.
Because the record doesn't reflect that this is DEFCON 1, but it tells you that the head coach of the team and the leaders that are the powers in the coaches haven't stressed the urgency enough, and it's up to the players to do it. That's bad.
We had tea leaves of this in the offseason, and during camp. The fights with themselves when they were scrimmaging another team. Mike McDaniel having to break up a fight. They should have held a damn players-only meeting then. I could argue this shouldn't even be the first time they've done this. That's the sad part. They should have done this in training camp when they were ready to kill each other.
Part of me thinks that a players-only meeting is a negative, poor reflection on that head coach. He is out. He's out. There's no way he's going to survive.
I can't believe they brought him back.
There's no way. I mean, unless that really invigorated the team, and we're going to see it. But that tells you that the players are trying to get on their own page, and they don't trust their coach to get it out of them.
But if I could even Jonathan Zazo, voice of the 305, he wants to clean house, clean slate. To his credit, what offensively in that week 1 looked good for the Dolphins? Everyone always said, "Oh, McDaniel, you're bringing him back because 2 years ago that offense was really good, man. I mean, they were throwing the ball. They had Tyreek Hill.
They even had a good finish to the year last year. They had injury luck.
They were able to run the ball. I mean, Tua played that was his worst game ever, dating back to his rookie season. I don't even think he played that bad as a rookie. So it's sour. It's all sour with McDaniel. All that hope that you could get back to where you were 2 years ago offensively. It's week 1. Could they turn it around? Maybe. My best guess is no, though. My best guess is no. You lost the locker room last year, and then you're bringing it back this year. Because of what? You want a road game in Cleveland to win 8 games? Stop it. I don't know, Colin. My best guess, the Patriots, this is going to be a worse game of Sunday. Dolphins and Patriots?
And to think that they have 3
I'd rather watch horse racing.
They had 3 straight division games coming up. So they got a tough stretch up ahead. They have the Bills on Thursday Night Football immediately following the Patriot game, which is this Sunday. And then after that, they get the New York Jets, I believe, on Monday Night Football. So they get not only national opportunities to play in front of fans, but it's against important teams where they need to win those games if they want to stay in contention. Yeah. If you're going to start things off here and go 1-3 with 2 division losses before you even blink, you're going to have a lot of issues. You're going to have a lot of issues for the rest of the year. This is going to be an early and swift collapse if this players meeting that they just had doesn't work. 888-760-3776. Is this the beginning of the end of the current regime of the Miami Dolphins? 888-760-3776. The Dolphins held a players-only meeting about 48 hours into the season. 2 days after the first game, when there's 16 games to go. We shift to Riviera Beach in a moment. 888-760-3776. Leo in Riviera Beach. You join the program now. Leo, hello. How are you?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call, as always. I'm a huge Dolphins fan. Ride or die with the Dolphins, but it's been more dying than riding at this point.
Yeah.
To hold the players-only meeting, it just reeks of desperation from the players. I agree with you guys. I think, personally, I used to be such an optimistic Dolphins fan because we got the offensive guru and the head coach. Like, at least our offense is supposed to show up. Okay, yeah, we might allow 28, 31 points, whatever, on defense, but we'll be able to outscore like we saw a few years back against the Ravens. We'll be outscore. We're never out of any game, but we were truly out of that game at halftime. I mean, at that point, the writing was on the wall. To be down 30-0 against the Colts was horrible. To even have to like face other Dolphins fans and say, listen, we're gonna get out coached against Mike Vrabel. We were in the playoff race a couple years ago, I believe, and we lost to Mike Vrabel in the Titans with Will Levis at quarterback. So they have Drake May at quarterback. I just have a feeling that we're going to get out-coached. It's really going to show Mike McDaniel's inability to grow as a coach, because it seems, we're not in the locker room. We're not with the X's and O's, but it just seems like McDaniel hasn't evolved his coaching. Like, his play calls are still similar. You still see those wide receiver screens. You see those quick outs. You see those check downs. And, yeah, that might be Tua and maybe not making the right reads. But if those plays are taking too long to develop, you got to know your personnel, right? I think Evan Cohen always says, know your personnel. And so when if you don't got a good O-line, you can't be running those deep routes with Hill and Waddle. You got to get something over the middle. You got to do something quick to get the ball out of their hands or establish the run, line up big, do something. But to see him not be able to adjust and then still have like time management issues and still have all these issues, it's just, I have a feeling it's going to be time for him to go. If we're 1-5, 2-4, I don't even know how we're going to get 2-4, but if we're 1-5 after 6 weeks, it's like, Ross, you got to make a decision, because we're not getting the most out of our players.
That's
to
it.
have all these weapons, we're not getting the most out of our players. And I know any other team would dream to have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on the outside, and even a player like Devon Achane who can run and can get you some flashy yards. Teams want those players, and to have McDaniel being an offensive guru, quote unquote, and have an embarrassment of riches, and for him to look like a pauper out there is not really a good look at all. It's like, I hate when I hear people say typical Dolphins. They just embarrassing. They don't live up to potential.
That's
but
it.
I have to agree with them right now.
You hit it right at the end. Appreciate the call, Leo. Thank you for chiming in.
Thanks,
They don't live up to the expectation.
And he said something that stuck out to me too. Like, the Tua and McDaniel, are they attached at the hip? I mean, here's the thing. You could fire your coach, fine. Who's going to take on that Tua contract? Like, if you're going to blow this up at the end, or rather this season at the end of the year, you might as well ride it out with Tua this season. But next, like, I don't know if you do fire McDaniel and blow it up, you got to find a way, I think, to move on from Tua then. I don't know.
You got to get somebody else in the building. You got to get somebody else in the building.
I don't know.
Draft pick.
Like, I think looking back, if this does, and granted it's week one, like, could they come out and blow out New England? Maybe. My best guess is no. But if this continues and they do blow it up, that Tua contract, you're going to look back at that and go, what the hell was Miami doing?
And he's in the second year of that, and it was a 4-year extension. So this is now, it makes it a tricky spot, because you can't necessarily eat all that dead cap. You can maybe front load it a little bit, but he's going to be on the books, and nobody is going to want that contract. So, but if you're thinking about the good of the team, and if there's a new coach in there, you got to give the guy at least an opportunity to bring somebody else in.
Yep.
I'm not saying this is entirely a Tua problem. Tua's been, honestly, one of the bright spots of that team, of that franchise in the last 2 or 3 years, whenever he's available. But nobody's going to want that job, too, because you're walking in to, a line of fire if you have that quarterback and nobody else. And the thing is, that job is going to be 100 times less desirable if the general manager is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Greer has been there. He's 0-3 in playoff games. He's 75-77. You're not necessarily becoming a very attractive job when you walk in, when you know the general manager has not worked at any stage. They paid Xavier Howard, it didn't work. They paid Byron Jones, it didn't work. They paid Tua Tagovailoa, it hasn't worked. They paid Tyreek Hill, it mostly hasn't worked. They paid all these guys. They got Jalen Ramsey. It didn't necessarily work.
And let's not forget the ugly situation of Brian Flores.
Brian Flores sued the team. I mean, geez.
We're 1 year. Let's rewind about a year and 3 weeks ago when Tua was going on godforsaken podcasts complaining about Brian Flores and like letting us know what was happening and what was being said to him. And like the reason I attach McDaniel and Tua so much to the hip is because like this was the rebirth of Tua. Like McDaniel unlocked Tua those years the offense were really good. Well, I keep reminding Dolphin fans, and trust me, I don't even think I need to remind them at this point. We're very far separated from 2 years. Last year was a nightmare. Tua's never been able to stay healthy consistently. And now this year, you were down 30-0 to Indianapolis in week 1 with Daniel Jones, man. And maybe it is time to put some respect on Daniel Jones. Time will tell. And I keep saying it's week 1, but I can only talk about what we've seen so far. And what we've seen so far has not been good from this team. And even in training camp, even in the offseason, the fights, the Tyreek Hill situations, the ridiculous allegations we always see about Tyreek Hill. Enough. I feel bad for Dolphin fan because when is enough enough?
Want to win some Marlins tickets? Here's your chance. Sunday, Miami Marlins, they got one of their final home stretches of the year, against the Detroit Tigers this weekend, Sunday, 1:40 p.m. You want 4 tickets? Here's your opportunity. Marlins, Tigers, good matchups too. So you're going to get some good players coming into town. You're not going to see a ton from the Marlins, but you'll see it from the Tigers. You can win 4 tickets now to that Sunday matchup, 1:40 first pitch, September the 14th. 888-760-3776. Caller number 3 is going to get 4 tickets to Marlins, Tigers on Sunday. 888-760-3776. Let's go early. Caller number 3. The faster you go, the faster you get it. 888-760-3776. Marlins, Tigers tickets, 4 to give. Coming up after this, we'll announce who gets it. 888-760-3776. Russo and Rizzo taking a time out here on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
ESPN West Palm is on the move. Brought to you by Safebound Moving and Storage, the most trusted moving company in Florida. You're safe with Safebound.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen, and yeah, I remember that one time I tried to turn ESPN 106.3 off. Silence is scary. I ended up pacing around the house and overwatering a plant. I caved. I grabbed my phone and installed the ESPN South Florida app. Truthfully, I'm better for it, and my plants are healthier.
Gators fans, you still have 4 chances to catch Florida football live in the swamp this season. Don't miss the Texas game on October 4th, homecoming against Mississippi State on October 18th, Military Appreciation Day versus Tennessee on November 22nd, and Florida State for Senior Day on November 29th. Visit FloridaGators.com to get your tickets today.
Football season is here, and the ultimate game day headquarters is Twin Peaks. Whether it's college Saturdays or NFL Sundays, catch every kickoff, every touchdown, every Hail Mary right here at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. From scratch-made favorites to ice-cold 29-degree draft beers, Twin Peaks is delivering all the winning plays. Looking for a stronger lineup? No one does game day like Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks, come for the game, stay for the experience.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or bradleyair.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, not Christian Cat, Damian Perez in the studio today. Congratulations to Derek in West Palm Beach, who won 4 tickets to little Marlins-Tigers action this Sunday. 4 tickets. How about that? Go enjoy the day Sunday at Lone Depot Park down in Miami. Congratulations to Derek in West Palm Beach. You're not going to be watching the Dolphins, I'll tell you that. You're going to want to. You'd rather watch the Marlins and the Tigers, and that I actually agree with. If you're a Dolphins
What do you mean,
fan.
dude? All Miami Mike needed was a little home cooking to get that offense going with Tua.
And a couple players meetings without the coaches. How about that? But a packed slate of Sunday football on about here. A couple big games in terms of a couple divisional matchups that, of course, we got to keep an eye on. But there's a couple teams that are 0-1, and that 0-2 is a dangerous spot that you don't want to fall to because it diminishes your odds significantly to make the postseason. Obviously, we've seen it time and time again with the Cincinnati Bengals, who were able to kind of dig themselves out of the hole, and how the Ravens were able to dig themselves out of the hole. That happens. Doesn't happen all the time. Especially doesn't happen to middling teams. So teams like the Bears, teams like the Lions, who play each other sitting both at 0-1. Bears fall at 0-1, you're in a lot of trouble. And or the Cowboys, even for that sake. Dak Prescott never loses to the Giants. But 0-1, you got to make sure you win that game. And there's a couple other teams. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. All eyes are on them. You want to fall to 0-2. I know if there's a team that could probably deal with it, it's the Chiefs. But a couple big-time teams that have big matchups. Houston Texans, another one, who play on Monday Night Football against the Buccaneers. 0-1. You fall to 0-2. All of a sudden, Indianapolis wins another game.
Do me a favor, Kyle. Throw Atlanta in there, too.
Atlanta.
A lot of hoopla about them competing with Tampa Bay in the division. I never saw it, but
they played well last week.
And that's
they were right there.
It's what I keep hearing.
Well, you keep hearing. It's what happened.
They didn't win the game. But and playing the Vikings, rookie quarterback, it's a really winnable game for them. So I like where you're at with the wins. You forgot a team though, man. Baltimore. What do you mean? The team that's 12-point favorites, the highest favorite of the weekend. It's their 30-year anniversary, too, at that giant purple crab cake. The issue is you're playing the team who they took the team from. There's no chance, Kyle. I mean, Baltimore.
No chance.
Baltimore.
They fell to 0-2 last year. They're not going to do it again.
They did.
They're not going to do it again.
But if there is a team that could recover, like, I'm looking at this and going, all right, who could recover from being 0-2? I think
the Ravens have shown it. The Cincinnati Bengals have shown it.
I think Kansas City, certainly. But, like, teams like Atlanta, Houston, I'm not even ready to see, like, Dallas. Like, you mentioned that Dak doesn't lose to the Giants, but I don't think Dallas can afford to drop to 0-2 with what they did last year after having the aforementioned Dak Prescott get injured in the season kind of unraveling. You rather have them start 1-1 and a big win in Jerry World for the first time in front of those fans. So I kind of look at it the other way, Kyle. I look at it on who can afford to go 0-2. And I think the only two teams I can muster up is really Kansas City and Baltimore, because we've seen them, not necessarily from Kansas City, but you think Kansas City would be able to come back from being down in an 0-2 deficit because of their past.
The last time Dak Prescott lost to the Giants, Barack Obama was still in office.
Wow.
It was both of his rookie year.
Jeez, oh man. It goes to show Dak's been in the league for, went to Mississippi State.
It was that 2016 year that him and Elliott came out at the same year because he was a 4th-round pick or a 3rd-round pick.
Been in the league for a while, so
I'm not worried about Dallas, but if you're Houston, if you're Atlanta, if you're the Bears or the Lions, which is why I think that's the game I'm most looking forward to this weekend, is that Bears-Lions 1 o'clock on Fox, because
I like Detroit a lot.
Both those teams did not play well in week 1 for the most part. They had their flashes. There's a little bit of obviously probably animosity due to Ben Johnson skipping town as a division rival. That's my favorite game of the weekend because I think the loser of that is in a really difficult, precarious position because you're in that division to begin with. And Minnesota is going to be hanging around and Green Bay is going to be Green Bay. If you're the Lions and you start the season 0-2 in the division, that's really not good. And if you're the Bears and you start your divisional games 0-1, but you're sitting at 0-2, you're probably the least likely of the team due to the inexperience of climbing out of that. So that would be my big game to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
is what's going to happen in that Bear-Lion game.
It's the early division matchups, right? I mean, especially with the Bears. If the Bears lose that game, they'd fall to 0-2 in the division. And the Lions would fall 0-2 in the division. Vice versa, whoever loses that game is going to be 0-2 in the NFC North. Keep that in mind as well, because obviously the Bears losing on Monday night, the Lions losing against the Green Bay Packers. And I think offensively, both those teams, the Bears and Lions, the Bears, they left points out on that Monday Night Football game. I mean, Cairo Santos missing field goals. Caleb Williams missing throws on 4th down. And then not to mention the Lions, the Lions have made their bread and butter off of Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs the last couple of years. They couldn't run the ball. Right. Granted, they were down before you could blink. But at the same time, the Lions got to get their offense on track. The Bears got to get their offense on track. And I think it's doomsday for whoever loses that game. It's doomsday because you're 0-2, but you're also you've played a quarter of your division games. You've played a quarter of your division games.
The Bears haven't at that point, but the Lions have. You can't lose those 2 games. Go 0-2 in the division. That's an uphill battle to get out.
But the Bears lost to Minnesota, so they've played.
Oh, yes, yeah.
But so you see what I'm saying? Like, regardless, I think whoever loses this game,
2 of your 6 games done.
It's like whoever loses that game, it's tough. It's
That's
tough
an
to
uphill
spin
battle.
It really is, mate. It really is.
That's the game I'm most looking forward to in terms of the biggest ramifications. I would say season wide probably lie in that matchup. The Eagles and the Chiefs are both going to probably be okay. We're under that impression. And outside of the Monday night games, which have 2 big matchups, at least for certain teams, you don't want to touch on that right now because of the doubleheader. But of all the other games on the slate, Browns, Ravens are 11-point favorites. You have the Rams and the Titans. The Rams are going to win ugly, most likely. Jags, Bengals, of course, I have my thoughts on that, but that's not a divisional game. You don't have a ton to worry about there.
I like Jags +3.
And we do like the Jags +3. We already took that with our cover 5, which you could download on the App Store today. And then the Giants, Cowboys, Seahawks, Steelers is an NFC, AFC matchup.
Yeah, and it's the first home game for Aaron Rodgers. I think Steeler fans are, especially what they saw last week, Colin. I think they think this is the best quarterback they've had since Roethlisberger. Not a big list to pick from. But there's a lot of momentum there, I think, for Pittsburgh.
And the Bronco-Colt game, I think, is another intriguing matchup.
It's 1 point.
And for right reason.
1 point.
Indianapolis finally got out from behind that dark cloud. They never start an opener right. They never win an opener.
I'd hammer Denver, Colin.
Denver played.
I'd hammer Denver.
They didn't play well.
Win the game, though?
They didn't play well.
But we saw that defense.
The thing about Indianapolis is Indianapolis, shocked some people. I mean, yes, we could walk in out of week 2 thinking maybe that loss wasn't as much about Miami and it was more about Indianapolis being pretty good.
That front seven's a little different for Denver than the Miami front seven. That's all I'm saying. I just think defense is going to prevail in that game. I think it'd be hard not to pick Denver -1 in that. I'll probably sprinkle a little action with our good friends on Hard Rock Bet on that, certainly.
Yeah, I like Denver too, but I think people are sleeping on Indianapolis. I really do. It's because of the stigma around Daniel Jones.
You're talking up your division.
I'm not talking up my division. I think the Texans are massively overrated. I think the Titans are not that good either. Jacksonville, jury's out. Jacksonville is either going to lose 34-10 or it's going to be a close win for Jacksonville. Indianapolis is the team that quietly has a lot to prove. Quietly.
Yeah. How about this? Cowboys-Giants, too. Just like that Bear and Viking game, one of those teams is going to be 0-2 in their division. So, like, that's another scenario where you have two NFC teams who have really just played their division the first two games. And you think it would be the Giants. And if it is the Giants, what do you think that owner, is it, Mara?
Yeah.
Dable.
Yeah, John Mara. Yeah.
Dable. I mean, that guy got brought back by the skin of his teeth.
You're not getting rid of
0-2, Kyle, 0-2 in the division. He scored.
Mike, please, let's think. You're not getting rid of the head coach after 2 games.
I'm not saying you are, but that seat's getting hot. He scored 6 points against the Commanders.
If you asked John Mara 2 weeks ago, do you think the Giants are going to start 0-2? He'd probably tell you yes. He'd probably tell you
that's fine, but if they score 6 points again, we got to have a conversation. It's fine. Bring it up.
The actual, I agree. It's a matter of what it looks like comparatively to the record. The record does not make it that much of a difference. They had a bad game. They need to show a little guts in that game against the Cowboys. You're 100% right there. The record has nothing to do with it. It's about how they lose, not about if they win or lose, because nobody, including and especially the owner, is expecting that.
All right. When the inevitable happens and they're 0-4 after the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Right. They knew this. Mike, they knew this is not we talked about this. We knew this. We knew that schedule was this bad. We knew they have a gauntlet. What are you going to do, throw the rookie in there? Why would that help him? He's going to go in and get chewed up.
Trot out Russell Wilson after 0-4? That's when the paper bags start coming out.
After you get through the first couple games of the schedule and you get through the gauntlet part in the first half, then you could start to have a conversation after a couple weeks of practice about when to put in the rookie
I don't think they can't afford an 0-4 start. They need to look competitive.
You need to look competitive.
They need to look competitive.
I am on the same page. But to think that the answer is to just panic, desperate, throw the quarterback into the game. You think that's the right move? That screams desperation.
No, it's not even. I'm not even saying Jackson. They got Jameis Winston. They have options. You can't.
Jameis.
You can't.
All right. You can't. We're gonna bench the quarterback after one game for Jameis Winston. That is desperate too.
Russell Wilson. He doesn't have it.
Getting rid of the quarterback.
That was a waste of time.
For any reason.
Bringing in Russell Wilson was a waste of time.
Any reason getting rid of the quarterback is desperate.
Bringing in Russell Wilson was a waste of time.
Getting rid of
stand by that.
Any quarterback 5 quarters into the season is desperate. If anything, that shows turmoil more than anything. I agree. Wilson might stink, and he might not be able to elevate them to anything in those tough first 4 games. But we're ready to call it quits after 4 quarters? That's not fair.
I've seen enough for it.
Seen enough. What have you seen from Jameis? For me, what have you seen from Jameis? Guy's never been able to string together 3 games of his whole career.
It's not 5 quarters, mate. It's dating back to Denver. Like, why does Russell Wilson continue to get opportunities? It's something I don't understand. You scored 6 points, and the Commanders arguably played like crap.
Here's the problem. You cannot make a change. There was not a lot of options last year, and Sam Darnold wasn't coming back. So there's no options. Where are you looking outside of Russell Wilson? So tell me that first. Number 2, and Aaron Rodgers didn't want to go there. So that's not going to happen.
You had other options.
Aaron Rodgers not going to the other New York team. There were not other options. Darnold wasn't coming, and Rodgers wasn't coming.
That's a GM problem.
It's the GM
problem. It's a GM problem for bringing in Russell Wilson.
Talking about availability. Who else are we going for? Give me a name. Who else are we going for? Flacco?
And anyone but Russell Wilson. And I think
This is a personal stigma against Russell Wilson.
It's not. He stinks. Russell Wilson's bad.
Who are you getting? Who else should they have gotten?
I don't mind. And you're calling me crazy for throwing a rookie in there. I don't mind throwing Dart in there at this point.
Oh, now we're okay with Dart.
I don't mind throwing Dart.
180 seconds ago, I don't mind. Okay with Dart.
It's not even 180. They have options. They have options. When they ultimately lose 30-6 against the Cowboys, and Dable has that clueless look on the sideline.
We're on the same page that throwing Dart in there out of panic when he might not be ready is not the best move. He might go in and play great, but if he goes in and gets lit up, then all of a sudden he's getting a bad stigma. He's going to ruin his confidence. And that's
didn't happen to Bo Nix last year. Didn't happen to Jaden Daniels last year.
I mean, you can't compare.
They're desperate. The point I'm trying to make is Dable. They don't have the opportunity.
Bo Nix walked into a team that was ready.
Dable. What does that speak about Dable? That they're not ready after going 3-14 and getting brought back by pity. I mean,
that tells you exactly what you just said. They were 3-14. They're not going to be ready. What do you mean they're not ready?
They don't have the luxury to sit there with Russell Wilson for the next 4 weeks and go 0-4.
Let me clue you in on the conversations that probably happened between Dable and Mara. Dable and Mara did not sit down when Mara's saying, all right, why do I keep you and Joe Shane? Give me a reason why. Dable's not turn around and say, it's because we're going to win one of our first 2 games. It's because you got to give me a year and this new quarterback getting away from that Daniel Jones contract finally. You got to give me a little bit to find a new signal caller here and see if we got somebody for real. The goal is to have the team be competitive, number 1, and number 2, to at the end of the year hopefully know that you got a good signal caller, a quarterback that's going to be your guy going forward. That's the 2 goals of the Giants. The goal is not to go 9-8. The goal is not to go, 11-6. The goal is to figure out if you got the right quarterback in there and if you got finally a competitive team that likes to play under Dable. That's it. And I agree, bad start. But if we're going to throw in Jackson Dart because we don't like Russell Wilson and how he's been playing early.
6 points.
After 1 game. That, to me, screams turmoil, inconsistency. You're nervous. You know it's a rocking boat. That's what that screams. That does not scream keeping your calm, keeping your cool. That's not, it's the opposite. Throwing Dart in there. You think Dart's ready? Maybe he is. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But I'm under the impression that most rookie quarterbacks, if not 75% of them, are not ready by the time the first game comes around.
It's not 1 game for Russell Wilson. You keep saying that.
He's played 1 game for the Giants.
He's played 4.
He's played 1
I
game
don't
for
care.
the Giants.
I take it as a 4-year.
Why would they care?
4-year sample size.
They don't care about that.
He got ran out of town in Denver.
Fine.
They couldn't wait to get rid of him in Pittsburgh.
I agree.
Pittsburgh played 1 game without Russell Wilson the last 12 games.
If they wanted to get rid of him
Aaron
so bad,
Rodgers showed
why
for
didn't they
4
put Justin
touchdowns.
Fields back in? Why didn't they put Justin Fields back in?
Because they didn't believe in him. They didn't believe in him.
They didn't like him that much.
They didn't believe in him.
They
Who looked pretty good with the Jets week 1 against the Steelers.
Mike,
don't forget Daniel Jones, the guy they ran out of town.
Mike, they did not bench Wilson. If they hated him so much, like you're alluding to, they would have benched him, and they didn't. So why not? Well, they didn't play well in the postseason? Okay. But you're telling me they hated him in Pittsburgh. Yeah, they were okay with moving on.
They ran a handicapped offense,
I know, because Mike Tomlin
They
hasn't won a
played 1
playoff
game without him, and Rodgers throws for 4 touchdowns. What are we talking about?
They haven't won a playoff game in 7 years. Of course they wanted to move on. That's fine. Russell Wilson's a journeyman at this point in his career. That's exactly why the Giants brought him in. They didn't bring him in. Hey, Russell, looking forward to that 1 game that you could play with us.
And then you know what? Keep playing him. Go 0-4. Go 0-4.
Mike,
see where that gets you.
What was the goal coming? Did you look at the schedule before the season started? What was the goal?
They can't afford to go 0-4. Dude, this is a week-by-week league.
It was.
If you
fire the coach after 2 games,
I'm not saying they're firing the coach, Kyle.
Well, what are you saying?
I am saying that they can't afford to look like crap for the first 4 weeks of. It's not even playoff contenders.
And who is this for?
Because at the end of the year, you heard rumblings.
All right, so how does this work?
Dude, hang on. At the end of the year, the owner goes, oh, God. I didn't expect the end of it because they came out and said they're hanging on a Dable. Right. And then the owner comes out and says.
And then now what?
The owner comes out and says, oh, my God, this is bad. I didn't expect it to be this bad. So they're already coaching for their jobs.
Now what?
And then now you're going to, put up 6 points against the Commanders. You're going to be 0, and then you're going to be 0-2 in Dallas.
Okay,
and then you got the Chiefs, and then you got the Chargers.
And you lose to the Chiefs, who have lost
I don't think they
6
win
regular
any of those
season
4
games
games.
in 3 years. We're going to blame the Giants for losing to the Chiefs?
I blame the people running the operation that are trotting Russell Wilson out there.
We wouldn't blame any other team for losing to the Chiefs.
Dude, Russell Wilson can't play. That's the point That is the only point I'm trying to make here.
How does it change?
And there's a coaching staff.
They bring in Jackson Dart. They lose. They go 0-4. Then what's your point? Then what are you going to say?
At least you're giving a rookie quarterback the opportunity to grow
and then you kill his
learn.
Confidence. And then he throws 4 interceptions through 3 games. And then all of a sudden you can't get out from underneath.
Like, you're always doomsday with the rookies. Why can't it be what Bo Nix did last year? Why can't it be what Shane Daniels did?
Because the Broncos were a playoff-ready roster without him.
You're the one who would tell me you love the Giant defense and what the team has.
It's fine.
Malik Neighbors is complaining on the sideline because Wilson can't throw a 10-yard out.
Okay, that was the case last year. First of all, the Broncos
No, it was week 1 against the Commanders.
It was a case last year, too. What do you mean, no? First of all, the Giants They're playing the long game here. If they looked good in the last 6 games of the year, you're changing your tune entirely. You're so operating in conclusions after one game. Can you give them a one? Geez, can we give them 7 quarters before we draw conclusions about Russell Wilson and the offense?
Dude,
that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You're ready to throw the coach? Let's get rid of the general manager. Let's get rid of the owner. Let's get rid of the defense. Let's get rid of everything.
You're completely missing what I'm saying. You're not even listening to me.
Mike,
you're not even listening to me.
What you're saying is
I am saying this. They can't afford to start Russell Wilson 4 weeks straight and look like crap.
The
they
goal
can't.
was
they
to
cannot.
avoid that chunk
they
of the schedule. I bet you right now, the goal was to avoid this brutal start to the schedule. Don't throw Jackson Dart in games he's not prepared to play in yet. And then after that, we can start to see where the defense lies, number 1. Number 2, where the offensive line lies. And then number 3, giving Jackson Dart meaningful snaps. Yes, it might be meaningless games, but it's meaningful snaps, not against the best defenses in the NFL.
Then you know what? Keep having your best player be a distraction on the sideline then, because the guy can't get him the ball.
A receiver complaining about not getting touches. What else happened to the Sunrise?
It's not even
that.
They scored. You keep saying it's 1 week, but they scored 6 points, and they were arguably the worst team outside of the Miami Dolphins.
Mike, you know how many teams
and
scored
Russell,
under 20?
Spare me with the Russell Wilson.
17 teams scored under 20 last week. They're acting like we had an offensive output all over throughout the NFL.
Not to the Jet level.
Fine.
Not to the Jet level.
Point being is you're drawing these crazy conclusions about putting in a rookie quarterback when he might not be ready. Is more important to make sure the kid is ready, or to make sure to get rid of Russell Wilson? Is it more important to let Russell Wilson play and wait till Dart is ready, or to avoid the big problem and throw Dart in there when he's not ready? Answer that question.
I'm going to answer it with forgive me for thinking that Dable and Sheen do not know what they're doing. And
all right, now you can't turn it into this. They're staying regardless. So let's get rid of that. They might get fired, but they're staying.
I don't trust them to handle a quarterback situation as far as I could throw them. That's my answer to you.
All right,
That's my answer to you.
Is it better or worse? No, Mike, I'm giving you 2 options. I want you to answer this. Is it better for a head coach of a team when the goal throughout the season is not to make the postseason? All right, let's clue you in there. They're not trying to make the postseason. You would agree with
stupid.
That? Please,
ridiculous.
Please, Mike. The team's not ready to make the postseason.
Perfect. Tell your fan base that.
John Mara would have fired the coach if he was under that impression that you are right now, and he didn't. All right, so that tells you that he believes that. Is it better or worse to get Dart in there early because you scored 6 points in week 1 and let him play when you know he's probably not ready? Or is it better to just let the placeholder play until you believe that the new guy is ready? Which is the move?
I don't think
it does. That's what they're thinking.
It doesn't make a difference. I think
it totally does.
5 weeks comparatively to 2 weeks.
Mike,
what kind of a difference?
Absolutely does.
What
All right,
sitting on
you're off.
Sitting
it
with a
happened to
clipboard?
Deshaun Watson. It happened to Lamar Jackson. It happened to Deshaun Watson. It happened to all these players who didn't. Baker Mayfield didn't play. Like all these guys. They're supposed to sit for a couple weeks.
There are a lot of guys that didn't.
That's
my argument. Is there are a lot of guys that didn't either.
You can't compare him to that because he's a different player. And it was under the impression being a 20th overall pick. He's not the first overall pick in the draft. He's not supposed to be the savior immediately. The whole goal was him. He was not even the Giants' first pick. He was the second pick they had in that draft. And they're going to go in and probably under the assumption that this kid from Ole Miss played for a Lane Kiffin college-led offense in the SEC, played pretty good. They're not under the impression that this kid, they would have started him week 1 if he was ready. That's what that tells you. They would have started. They have no financial contribution to Wilson.
I don't trust the clowns running the team.
Zero financial contribution to Wilson.
It's similar.
It tells you that he is not ready. But for you to want to panic throw him in when quarterback's confidence is 90% of it. If you go in and kill the guy's confidence, you are derailing his career. That is the bottom line. And if he is not ready, then don't put him in. Put him in when he is ready, not when the team is in free fall. If the team is losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, you know what? You'll take that. If they're uncompetitive and if the defense is playing terribly, we could have a conversation. If the offense is the one that stinks, what tells you that they're one player away from completely upending the whole operation?
Watching the game against the Commanders?
Okay.
And watching the game, a quarterback, a capable quarterback that's able to throw 10 yards, arguably wins the game.
And how do you know he's ready? You don't. And you know who probably does? The coaches. You think they're withholding? Mike, you think they're withholding them because they think they got all day? You think they got all day?
You're giving Brian Dable a lot of credit.
Dable and Shane.
You're giving Brian Dable a lot of credit.
Let's think.
A lot of credit.
Mike, let's use our noodles. Let's lose our common sense. Here's your common sense. Do you think the coach who knows he's on the hot seat would not play the quarterback if he was ready? Really? Do you think Brian Dable would not play his first-round quarterback that he drafted with the general manager that he works with if he knew the guy was ready? Yes or no?
I think
the answer is he wouldn't.
There's a chance he could see Jackson Dart in the second half this week.
If it's that
There's
bad
a chance he
and
see
he
Jackson
lights
Dart
it
in the
up,
second half.
fine, I'm wrong. But I am sitting here under the
Russell
trying to
Wilson.
think from the perspective of the coach. And if the coach doesn't, I'm a pro, let the quarterback marinate if he is not ready. That is my perspective on it. Don't play the quarterback unless he's not ready. It's not trial by fire every time. Just because it worked with Bo Nix, who walked into the top 3 defense in the NFL, and with a Hall of Fame coach, does not mean that he's ready to that Jackson Dart is ready to rock and roll.
Plenty others on that list too.
Who basically walked into a team that was the most perfect. Everything falling into place at the right time, and he puts together the best rookie campaign the NFL has ever seen. Just because that happened doesn't mean that this guy drafted 23rd in a notoriously bad quarterback class is ready after 4 quarters of standing on the sideline. That, to me, is stupid.
It's better than Giant fans watching Russell Wilson.
Mike, it's not better for the player. We're trying to think for the player here. Let's try not to talk about the fan.
You think what's
and
best
whether
for
they
the
like,
team?
And they
you think what's best for the team?
And what's best for the team?
What's best for the team is Russell Wilson throwing 5-yard outs?
In the short term or the long term?
That's what's best for the team?
Short term or the long term? Short term or the long term? What is better for the long term of the Giants? To make sure
an organization like the Giants, you think they're ready to win now. You think they want to win now.
Mike, first of all, there's a reason their over-under was 5.5. So let's cut it out that they were trying to win the postseason, go win the Super Bowl walking into the season. Let's cut that out, all right, because that's not true. All right, going into the season, they knew that the goal of the season through 17 games was for the team to play competitively, for the defense to play competitively after investing a lot of capital into it through the draft and free agency, and for them to know if they have the right quarterback in mind.
Perfect. Let's revisit this when they were 0-4 and everything is about how Dable's going to get fired midseason. We'll revisit. How about that? We'll leave it at that.
If he gets fired,
I can't believe my big thing. I can't believe how much you're respecting Russell Wilson at this point. That guy can't play anymore. He cannot play anymore.
Did you miss?
I did not miss anything. You want to marinate the quarterback?
You want nothing to do with the Russell Wilson.
Dude,
this has everything to do with Dart.
What I'm saying is, if they don't move on from Russell Wilson soon, they're going to be in deeper water than you think.
Do you
with 5 games into the season?
Deep water? Do you don't think Brian Dable thinks he's in deep water? Mike, he's at the deep end of the pool. He knows it. He's got weights tied to his ankles. He knows this. You don't think he knows this? You think he's not putting him in because he doesn't want to? Because he spites him? He drafted him. He's not putting him in because the kid's not ready. All right? If he's got no choice and the team doesn't score for 2 straight games, all right, you got to make a judgment call. But to sit here and think that Brian Dable is so asleep at the wheel that the quarterback he drafted, he's not playing him immediately, and now we're under the impression that he's sabotaging his own job? No.
Not sabotaging his own job. I'm saying it's incompetence. It's incompetence playing Russell Wilson.
When they signed Russell Wilson, why was he signed? Tell me.
He was signed because he was a veteran quarterback, and there weren't a lot of good options.
Why'd they sign him to 1 year?
They're not sticking with them. What I'm saying, and
you just answered both the questions that the Giants.
What I'm saying, one game is enough. You do not need to see any more of Russell Wilson.
That's not true. No, that's not true.
You do not need to see any more of Russell Wilson.
That's not true. They signed him because he's a placeholder. Because you are going to be the guy that takes the field until we know that the guy behind you is ready to go. And you're under the impression that guys should play no matter what. Guys should not play no matter what. Guys should. There's a reason that Jordan Love didn't play for 2 years. All right? And how did he play last night?
Listen, there are instances where that works, and there are instances where a good situation works as well.
Bingo.
All right?
And just because we're at one stage does not mean the other is the right way.
Jackson Dart with the Giants defense and a pretty good weapons with New York as well. I think it's a lot better than Russell Wilson scoring 6 points.
And when he goes, let's throw him in against Kansas City. Let's throw him in against the Chargers, against these great teams that are going to be at the top of their conferences, because that is the right move. That to me doesn't make any sense. They're gonna eat him up. They're gonna chew him up. You think the team is completely right? The team is a work in progress. They won 3 games last year. It's a work in progress.
Starting Wilson is insanity in itself at this point.
1 game.
Stop
Jeez,
with
talk
one
about
game.
over. It is 1 game.
It's been 4 years.
You're talking about Russell Wilson with
been
other
4
teams.
years.
With other teams.
Come on.
With other teams.
Pittsburgh had a quarterback last year. They might beat the Ravens, where they only lost by. They were down by about a touchdown.
You love Tomlin, who hasn't won a playoff game in 7 years, but you're not willing to give Russell Wilson 5 quarters. That to me is a little much.
Rodgers threw for 4 touchdowns in the first game against a pretty good Jet defense.
And let's hope he keeps that up. I can't listen to that. Quarterbacks are not ready. You don't need to play them every time it gets cloudy outside. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Damian Perez. We'll do a little 5 and 5 on the flip side. We'll continue the conversation next. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WESP Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Hey guys, Mike Rizzo here. I know you're moving soon. Don't stress it. Call Good Greek for your total relocation solution. From packing and storage to local and long distance moves, Spiro and his team at Good Greek Moving and Storage has you covered from start to finish. Trusted by families, businesses, and teams like the Heat and the Hurricanes for over 2 decades. Make your next move simple, safe, and stress-free.
Good Greek Moving and Storage. Your superhero movers.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Kaiser University's flagship campus. The 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 26 national championships, including back-to-back-to-back lacrosse titles, and they just won their first ever national championship for men's tennis. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest on the championship flagship campus of Kaiser University.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
In sports and in life, how you move matters. So when injuries or pain get in the way, the orthopedic specialists at HSS Florida provide world-class care to get you moving again. From non-surgical and surgical care to personalized rehabilitation, HSS Florida offers the same quality and expertise you expect from HSS, the world's #1 in orthopedic care. With 2 convenient locations in West Palm Beach and Wellington. Learn more at hss.edu/Florida. Choose better, move better.
Ready to take on any terrain? The all-new 2025 Defender 110 P300S is here. Built for those who crave adventure without compromising on luxury. Lease the powerful 2025 Defender 110 P300S for just $889 per month for 36 months. Whether you're tackling the toughest roads or cruising the city, the Defender is ready for it all. Don't wait. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and experience the Defender like never before. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
What if every use of your debit card turns spare change into something meaningful, like growing your savings and supporting local community causes? With Flagler Credit Union's Impact Checking with Everyday Change, your spare change can have big impact. Each transaction can be rounded up to grow your savings and support nonprofits that provide meals, shelter, and essential services locally. Make an impact in your life and in your community. Open your Impact Checking account today. Insured by NCUA, official credit union of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
You lather, rinse, moisturize, and repeat. At this point, you're practically training for the Shower Olympics. But here's the twist. It's not your shampoo's fault, it's your water. Hard water leaves a mineral residue that clogs your pores and dries out your hair. Culligan water softeners remove damaging minerals, revitalizing brittle hair and dry skin. Upgrade your shower system today for only $79 a month. Visit Culligan.com for more information or just say,
Hey, Culligan man!
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Follow to the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy!
Light him up, Colin!
Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. So let me get this straight. Russell Wilson was signed for a 1-year deal worth $10 million, whatever it was.
And we've seen enough. We're good.
And this quarterback is in the metaphorical oven, waiting to come out, and then he's ready to rock and roll. He's in the metaphorical oven. There's 20 minutes left in the clock. Russell Wilson has played so poorly offensively, and the defense actually played halfway good. Russell Wilson has played so poorly that we're willing to take this guy out of the oven 20 minutes early. We don't know. Could be 60 minutes. He might not be ready until halfway through the year. Doesn't have the grasp of the offense. Who knows? We're willing to take him out just because we don't like what we're seeing with Russell Wilson.
Got Jameis Winston, too.
About this,
He can move the ball. He can move the ball.
Different discussion. You want to put in Jameis Winston and just do the carousel?
Fine. In my defense, this is where this all started. Russell Wilson is a waste of time. That's where this all started. And to your credit, maybe there wasn't a better option. I think there are two better options behind him after watching that week 1 and watching him for the last 4 years.
If you're going to sit here and tell me that Jameis is the chosen one, Jameis is a gunslinger.
It's not even the chosen one. He could start for your 3 or 5 games when someone is ready. By the way, I don't know when a quarterback is quote unquote ready.
That's why you got to trust when the coach is.
And then it just goes back to me not trusting Dable. Let's not regurgitate what we did, Kyle. But
Mike, I'm trying to get this understanding.
The big thing is Russell Wilson.
You're
That's
so
the big thing.
down on
That's
Russell Wilson after one game. He is a placeholder. He is the mannequin in the front, just waiting until the other guy's ready.
You have another mannequin that can move the ball. Is he going to throw 2 interceptions and maybe a pick 6?
He'll do that for the first game, and then the next game after that, they're not going to be able to move the ball again. And then Jameis is a surprise player. And then what? Then start a new guy?
You hope
let's go get Brian Hoyer off the street.
No. You hope your beautiful lemon cake that needs 20 more minutes is ready.
By week 3?
I mean, listen, what did you say? After the Charger game, after the first 4 gauntlet, after the first 4-game gauntlet that we've been talking about. And I think there's a big difference between saying they're probably going to go 0-4 and a team actually being 0-4 and having an owner go, oh, my God, we stink. Would you agree there?
Here's the thing. If the Giants lose and they play the Cowboys tough 20-15, 20-17, 17-13, Mara's walking out of that, Dable's walking out of that saying, hey, defense actually playing pretty well. Is quarterback ready yet? I think the quarterback does not necessarily give us the best position to win right now. I don't think he's ready. I don't want to shatter his confidence. All right? You keep waiting. You play the Chiefs, Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. Can we blame them for losing that game? Probably not, especially if they start 0-2. Definitely not. Then they play the Chargers, and then after that, you know what's funny? You want them to play after the Charger game? All right, fine. They got the Saints on the road. Great. All right, good start. What's the next 3? Eagles, Broncos, Eagles. What? Those are the 2 best defenses in the league. 2 times in a row, they're going to see Dart.
Maybe the kid surprises you, and he's pretty good.
God bless him if he does. God bless him.
Maybe
God bless you.
Just anything but Russell Wilson.
And then what are you going to say if Dart goes in there and he throws 3 interceptions?
He's a rookie.
All right, he's a rookie.
He's a rookie.
All right, he's a rookie. But what about his confidence?
We gave Bryce Young that benefit of the doubt. When Bryce Young stunk, we gave him that benefit of the doubt.
When he didn't have any confidence, and they brought him back in, and he played a lot better. It's a lot different when you're suiting up to play quarterback for the New York Giants, especially in New York.
I get that.
There's a lot attached to that, especially when they're expecting you to be good.
Like the whole 0-4 thing, too. I know the owner and us, we say one thing at the moment, but when it actually happens, I think it's a little different.
It's context.
It's a little different.
It's context.
Especially, and to your credit, we've played 1 game. Am I maybe overreacting about Russell Wilson? No, because of what I've seen the last 4 years. But Dable, they'll give him a chance. They'll give him another chance. Dare I say, you could see a new quarterback in at halftime in that Cowboy game. I'll leave it at that, Kyle. I'll leave it at that.
Here's the problem with that. You realize for Pittsburgh last year, he played ultra safe. He threw 16 touchdowns
and that's
a
Hall of Fame coach. That's a Hall of Fame coach, too.
A Hall of Fame coach who hasn't won a playoff game in 7 years.
But still.
And who hasn't been able to figure out the quarterback position.
Team who's consistently winning and in the playoffs. Listen, I understand Dable won a playoff game 3-4 years ago, but he doesn't get that benefit of the doubt anymore.
Fine. And they're not expecting him to make the postseason this year. You think they looked at the division with the Cowboys finally getting healthy, the Washington Commanders with a rookie quarterback coming off maybe the best surprise season we've seen in years after going to the NFC title game, and the defending champions? You think they looked at that division and thought, gee, wouldn't this be great to make the postseason? No. They probably thought, hey, we need some semblance. John Mara does not want to do the same thing where he gets rid of McAdoo and then gets rid of Shermer, then gets rid of Joe Judge, and then gets rid of Dable. He doesn't want to play this game every 5 seconds. He wants to stick with the guy and realizes that, all right, made a bad judgment call on Daniel Jones signing him after that great season that he had, playing the best game of his career and the most important game of his career. And a lot of Giant fans would agree that you re-sign him after that moment. They ended up getting burned because of it. That's fine. And then you had to wear that. He was terrible. You had to sit through it for 2 years. And then after that, from here, you finally got out from under that contract. You don't have to play him anymore. Then you get to the free agency, and there's nobody available. You want to get Aaron Rodgers? Well, he played in this division. He played in this building last year, and he hated it, and he hated the Jets, and he tore his Achilles on this field. And then you look over, and it's Sam Darnold, who said he was seeing ghosts on Monday Night Football in that building. So you got two guys there who are not coming back to MetLife, and there's nobody else really to look. If you don't want, and they're thinking, boy, we need some experience, maybe a little veteran leadership. Where are they going to look? They bring in Jameis Winston. I wouldn't call him Mr. Mentor. He's fun to watch. He's fun to listen to. And then they get a rookie quarterback. They need somebody who knows how to be a pro. At the very least, Russell Wilson knows how to be a pro.
For sure, he says the right things.
He says the right things. He's good with the media. He's a pretty good leader, it seems like. It seems like people buy into what he's selling. That's fine. Has he lost his step because he's 35 years old? Probably. But that doesn't mean that the Giants need to go DEFCON 1, throw everything overboard just off of one game. That's not fair.
But it's not DEFCON 1 because you have Jameis. You could go a different option. And listen, you could call it premature all you want. The Russell Wilson thing was a failure. It was a failure.
Mike, it's been one game. It's been one game.
But
my God.
I still
it's
go
been one game. Can these guys play a little bit more?
I still go back to, dude, Steeler fans that I know couldn't stand him. They got ran out of
fine.
Denver.
Jeez. I mean, he didn't win a playoff game for the Steelers. Anybody who didn't win a playoff game for the Steelers is going to be ran out of town.
But I think the whole Russell Wilson thing is already sour.
And then when Jameis Winston comes in and he stinks, and we know he stinks because he stinks, and he goes in and stinks, what is Jackson Dart supposed to think when he finally gets in? Boy, they
says
benched,
he's ready.
They benched the first quarterback after 4 bad quarters, and then they got the second guy in there, and he was awful, and then they panic throw me in game 3. You think that shows stability? Boy, do I trust my coaching staff? Or do you think that shows the desperation, urgency that, oh boy, I got a lot of pressure to play well?
Go ahead, start 0-7. Go ahead. Then play Russell Wilson, go 0-7. Lose your jobs. Go
Mike,
lose your jobs.
And you know what the funny part
is?
Lose your jobs. Start 0-7. We've played one game. That's the funny part. We played one game. My God.
Might be able to beat the Saints. It's at New Orleans. Who knows? But
played one game. My God.
6 points.
One game.
6 points, no run game, nothing offensively.
And for some reason, Jackson Dart's going to fix it all when there's no run game. How about that?
to keep trotting out Russell Wilson, see how that works for him.
I mean, gee, we're going to throw a rookie in there who hasn't played a game ever?
I account for the 10th time you got more options than the rookie.
If Jameis Winston is some crazy answer
that you have. He could score more than 6 points.
I mean, geez, but if the whole goal is to rely on your defense, we're going to throw in the biggest gunslinger in the history of gunslingers who turns the ball over 3 times a game to throw it in there? Is that really the goal?
Good. Then
let's think about no, that's a good point. Let's think about the context of the team. This is a defensive-centric team. Let's throw in a gunslinger who's going to turn it over 3 times a game? Or is this going to be, let's get in the safe quarterback who maybe, if he's clicking at some point, and he's safe. All right, don't lie. He's safe.
Who went 17 of 37 for $160.
Hey, he was but
6 points.
Wait, he's the first quarterback in the history of quarterbacks play a bad game? Jeez. I mean, this guy's probably a Hall of Famer. Let's keep that in mind. Yeah?
He's doing his best to ruin that.
I mean, Mike, he had 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last
year.
Between
Denver and he's doing his best to ruin it.
He won the games last year.
Doing calisthenics on a jet on the way to London. He's doing his best.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah, he won games last year. And what do you think? That's Tomlin or not? Fine. But, I mean, at the very least, he's a veteran. Don't show panic. That's the key with the Giants. Don't panic. Don't rock the boat. Don't do a players only now. That's where let's dodge this. Don't do a Don't do a players only. All right? And if Dable starts starting 3 quarterbacks in 3 weeks, that will cause a players only. Let's think about the coach here. And you don't trust Dable? You have every right not to. He hasn't shown you basically anything in order to allow that. But what I do is I understand Mara's perspective, the owner of the New York Giants. I understand his perspective when he says, I don't want to do this whole entire charade again. I don't want to get a brand new general manager and a brand new coach for the 7th time since Coughlin left. I don't want to do that. And you know what? I don't blame him. That is a team that has had a whole lot of nothing outside of 2 big runs in 20 years. He's trying to get a marginal look at stability. And getting rid of your quarterback after week 1 is the complete opposite of that. That's the complete opposite of that. That's what
it's a tough look in general for Mara and company and Dable. You let Saquon go, he wins the Super Bowl.
And that was the right move. We were on the same page. That was the right move.
Listen, and Daniel.
It looked bad because they did the offseason hard knocks, but that was the right move.
Daniel Jones.
It was a mistake.
Daniel Jones, winning a game 30-8. You're scoring 6 points.
Well, now you're saying that they should keep Daniel Jones
around? I'm not saying they should have kept him. I'm not saying they should have kept him, but the inept, the lack of getting the best out of players, I think it's there. It's there. And listen, Saquon was good for the Giants. I'm not saying that. But at the same, if Daniel Jones has a good first couple of weeks here and the Giants stink.
I mean, I agree. That doesn't look great for them. But getting out of New York was important probably to Jones, similar like it was to Darnold. Similar probably like what it's to Rodgers. New York does something to people. It does. Does it in baseball, does it in basketball, does it in football too. It's a tough market to play in. It's an impossible team to play for who has seen absolutely no success in the past 20 years. That's outside of 2 Super Bowls. So nothing. Ever since Manning retired, they've had absolutely no answers. None. That's the tricky part. That's why I don't say you panic because the offensive game plan might have not went to plan. No offenses played well last week. That's what happens in the beginning of the year. No offenses played well. None. Not many. Washington Commanders looked poor last night. They couldn't move the ball. Is that because the Packers are great? Then why the Washington Commanders stink? And that's why we're, bashing the Giants for not playing well against them? That's not fair. Let's bounce around a little bit, Damian. How are you, by the way? Are you good? Damian Perez is our producer behind the glass at the City Place Studios here on Russo and Rizzo. Damian, hello. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. Do you think that the
Blew off some
Giants
steam there?
Do you think that the Giants should consider putting Dart in early?
Or Jameis Winston doesn't have to be Dart.
Or Jameis
Moving on from Russell Wilson.
I don't think Russell Wilson is the answer, but I would give him 1 more week, maybe 2. If he looks horrible next week, I think we can start talking about benching him.
And you know what the funny part is? I think the Giants could have told you that answer, that they know he's not the answer. They could have told you that probably 6 months ago.
So Dame, I'll save the suspense. What did you say again? Can you tell me what you said again?
That if he doesn't look good next week,
he's not gonna look good in Dallas. So let's be prepared. Be prepared.
We'll see. And I'm not even rooting for him. I'm thinking strictly off of Jackson Dart. Goal is to keep Jackson Dart in the right frame of mind because confidence is everything in a quarterback. And the kid's not confident, and you shatter his confidence immediately. You're laughing. What are you laughing at?
Because you could play Jameis and move the ball down the field.
I mean, Jameis stinks.
That's why I'm laughing.
Jameis
I'm not saying he
plays one game, and then he surprises people, and then he's terrible.
At least you're gonna get something offensively.
After the 5 interception game that we're gonna see from Jameis.
At least you're not gonna.
Then they're going to think, oh, well, at least offensively we get 300 total yards. The problem is we had 6 turnovers in the process.
At least you're not throwing 40 times for under 200 yards, under $1.70.
Would you rather 300 total yards of offense but 5 turnovers or 0 turnovers and 200 yards?
Now,
5 turnovers is a stretch.
What I will say, with Winston,
3 is safe.
5's a stretch.
3 is pretty safe.
I think 2. Jameis is good for about 1 or 2 a game. He's good for about 1 or 2 a game.
1 is a great Jameis game.
All I'm saying,
you know that better than anybody. 1 is a good game.
They have a better chance with Jameis Winston than they do Russell
Not about
Wilson.
The chance, about stability.
I think he will help satisfy neighbors as well. We saw it last year with Judy. But as far as winning games, I don't know.
So week 1 when they went to Colin's point, I could do without the receivers and the antics, but dude, you want to keep your star players happy, man. The guy was sick of getting thrown the 6-yard out for the 10th time in the 4th quarter.
If I had a nickel for every time a receiver was not happy
downfield.
If I had a nickel, Mike, for every time that happened, we'd be very, very rich.
To not go downfield at all though, that game they begged the Giants to make that a game and to be in that game, and they never did. Begged them.
And that tells you that the Giants were moderately competitive outside of the offense. It does tell you that. Let's bounce around a little bit, Damian. Let's do a little 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High 5.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas, no brakes.
And it's shaking big time.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union, proud supporter of FAU athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union. Number 1.
All right, Kyle, we've been talking NFL all day. We are sticking with the NFL was story number 1. By the way, Mike Rizzo filling in for Christian Cat on the 5 at 5. Let's go to Kansas City. So Kansas City starting the season 0-1 for the first time in a very long time. And it's also the first time in a very long time that Patrick Mahomes is a home underdog. Patrick Mahomes has started 68 home games for the Kansas City Chiefs. One other time, he was an underdog at home. So coming up against Philly, they are a +1.5 underdog. The other time, Kyle, that they were dogs was back in 2022, Buffalo Bills week 6. They were 2.5-point underdogs. The Bills ended up winning that game. Colin, your best guess, Philly, Kansas City. Number 1, who do you got and how do you see this one going?
This strikes me as the year that Kansas City is going to start 0-2. This does strike me as that. I think that Kansas City is going to lose this game. They're coming back after, I know they still have a long week, but they still had to travel about 10 hours comparatively to Philadelphia. Nothing. Philadelphia is really good. I don't know if how Kansas City is going to be pissed off. I think it'll be a closer game. But I see the Eagles winning this one. If I had to take one, it's a coin flip. But if what we saw in Sao Paulo is any indication of that, Kansas City's maybe lost a step. That's a game they always win against the Chargers. Maybe you see that again with the Eagles. So I would take Kansas City. I would take the Eagles now.
I locked in on my personal Hard Rock account, Philly -1. I got them at 1. I like them to win the game. Even if Kansas City starts 0-2, I still believe they could win double-digit games and go to the playoffs. This is Mahomes we're talking about and Andy Reid. But I'll say this about the Chiefs. The division's better. And we've talked about that numerous times on the show. There are about 3 teams in that division other than Kansas City that have, and I'm not saying Vegas can do it this year, but I think they have the players and the coach to possibly win 10 games. So I think Kansas City will be 0-2. That doesn't mean that they can't go to the playoffs, but that division did get a little tougher.
Number 2.
All right, number 2, 5 at 5, presented by Flagler Credit Union. NFC North, you got the Lions hosting the Chicago Bears. Obviously, Ben Johnson, former offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. He's the new head coach there in Chicago. Things did not start well for him in Chicago, Kyle. He thought Cairo Santos was going to boot it out of the end zone. Cairo Santos did not boot it out of the end zone. They lost 40 seconds on the clock, and it ultimately costing them a Monday Night Football game, losing in truly a Bear fashion. How do you see this divisional matchup going? Obviously, both teams don't want to start 0-2 within their respectable division in the NFC North. We got Bears and Lions as story number 2.
Yeah, I would do the Lions here have got to win. It's a desperation battle there. It's a desperation heave. Detroit's been a weird team in that week 1, but you got to think that they have too much talent. Just truly. They got too much talent to have a bad year. They're going to have a worse year, but, maybe Green Bay's really, really good, and you're going to see the Lions finally open it up a little bit and light things up. Maybe Green Bay's just that much better. But at home, in their building, Goff is good in that building. They're desperate for a win. They've had 2 really bad showings the last 2 times we've seen them. I think Detroit is going to come out and finally get back on the same page.
Yeah, Detroit definitely, I think, has the most to lose. This is a team that is without their 2 coordinators. Obviously, one of the coordinators is on the other sideline. But, Detroit's won the division the last 2 years. Give them some credit. They've been the top dog in that division. If they lose to the Bears at home, you kind of lose listen, Green Bay might be good, but we're still the team to go to. It hurts because you lost to Green Bay last week, and if you're to lose to the Bears this week, the team who finished in the cellar last year in that division, I think that's going to hurt you. Let's do number 3.
Number 3.
Speaking of those Green Bay Packers, they played on Thursday Night Football. Obviously, we understand they won the game against the Commanders, but Colin, I mentioned it earlier in the show, Josh Jacobs has an incredible touchdown streak. 11 games in a row, Josh Jacobs has found the back of the end zone, one of the longest streaks dating back to the 70s. Kyle, where does Josh Jacobs rank among the best running backs in the NFL?
I love Jacobs because he's sort of an old style, downhill, north and south, good vision. And they give him a lot of carries. He never complains. He's a 20 carry a game guy. Does he have the top end speed? Is he a sort of game breaker? No. But I think he's exactly what they need because that's a very methodical offense. Go 10 plays, go 7-8 plays, utilize the play action. He's perfect for that. They don't necessarily need that shifty left and right. They need that consistent north-south. That's what Josh Jacobs has to offer.
I got Barkley, Henry, McCaffrey. And then I think there's a whole lot you can put there.
Gibbs.
You want to put Jacobs over Gibbs?
I would put Jahmyr Gibbs over him right now. Yeah.
I'd probably put Jacobs over him. just because of the consistency.
Bijan Robinson's probably yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple.
There's a couple ways you could go.
10. He's a top 10.
Certainly, I think maybe even top 5. But regardless, hell of a streak. 11 games with a touchdown. Give some credit to Josh Jacobs. This is number 4. All right, Kyle. Big college slate too. We haven't even got to the college side. We've been talking so much NFL. Georgia Tech and Clemson. I still think that's a big game. It's at Georgia Tech. Clemson only favored by about 2.5. You got obviously Alabama and Wisconsin. You got Georgia and Tennessee. Miami and USF, the battle on the CW. LSU and Florida. Notre Dame, Texas A&M. I think so far, Kyle, this is probably the most loaded the college slate has been. Like, week 1 was great because you had marquee matchups.
You had 3 great games.
But, you really got – I even go to bat for the Clemson and Georgia Tech because I think Georgia Tech can win that game.
You finally got some good divisional conference matchups, and you got a couple good bye games that you still have, like Alabama, Wisconsin. Alabama, Wisconsin's not going to be a good game, so let's get that out of the way.
By the way, 20.5.
Yeah.
Alabama's favored. That's at Bryant-Denny Stadium, by the way,
let's take the 20.5 safely, all right?
We're going to –
that Wisconsin team's not doing anything.
We'll be blitzing the book coming up next. But regardless, loaded slate.
Yeah,
loaded slate.
The first game I'm looking at, I think the game with the biggest ramifications, obviously that Miami USF game is interesting on the CW, but the one I really have my eye on is that Notre Dame game. Do I think Texas A&M is any good? No. But do I think Notre Dame is definitely a step back from where they have been, at least in the past 2 or 3 years? Absolutely. It's weird that they basically had a bye coming into this. But this is an important game. I know it's in their building. Texas A&M lost to this team at Kyle Field last year. Texas A&M is honestly a little bit more dangerous on the road, which is so weird considering they have such a good home field stadium. But I don't know how much stock I put in A&M, but I do know that there's a lot riding on this for Notre Dame. Notre Dame team that goes 2 losses is probably you're flirting with not getting in, especially with the schedule that they have. They don't have a ranked team basically unless USC rises up. I mean, they don't have a big-time schedule. They got no big-time wins.
Kyle, dare I say, what's the road if they don't win one of these 2 big games early on? What's the road for them to get in?
You got to hope that everybody gets beaten up, and including you got to hope that there's multiple ACC schools that don't get in, and you got to hope that, Florida State loses a couple, Miami loses a couple. You got to hope that Clemson loses a couple.
Like, I think this is must win. This is one not playing a conference
This season, yeah. This
know what I'm saying?
This kills them if they lose this game. And they're not going to have the eye test with a freshman or with the CJ Carr first-year starter. They're not going to have the eye test in their favor. Yeah, they played Miami tough, but if the committee can get back at Notre Dame, I know it's a big brand, big market, but if they don't win these 2 important games early, Notre Dame is probably dead in the actual grand scope of making the postseason.
Quickly, Purdue, Arkansas, Boise, NC State, USC, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford.
There's nothing there.
The 2 possible ranked teams that I could see is NC State if they continue to win,
Pitt.
And USC. You think Pitt too?
Pitt underrated as well. I think Pitt's an underrated
team.
team.
We know one thing. The committee's going to give Notre Dame the benefit of the doubt, even if they do lose this game. I think it all depends. I think personally, I think Notre Dame's going to win the game. It's a home game. I think Marcel Reed is a great quarterback for A&M, but
A&M doesn't win a big game. That's the problem.
They don't. Doomsday, if they do, though, that road becomes a lot harder.
Yeah, a team I would keep in mind on is Pitt. Keep an eye on Pitt. They haven't played anybody yet, but they can score. And keep an eye on that. Eli Holstein is quarterback. You heard it here first. Go ahead.
Kyle, when is it going to stop? Right, number 5, by the way, 5 and 5, presented by Flagler Credit Union. Brother, listen, we were here for a fall. We were here for the end of the summer last year, too. I've never seen rain like this.
Yeah, it's
bad.
Thunderstorms. The thunderstorm last night during the game was bizarre.
Insanity. When is it going to stop raining? Like, I understand it's hurricane season, but this is insane. I got to be on a high school sideline.
Yeah, you got to give it another month probably, right? Mid-October is usually when snowbird season opens up. It's still hurricane season, but you got to let it cool down a little bit. I think we're going to deal with this for another couple weeks. We got lucky in the early part of the summer. June and July was not bad. June and July was pretty good. And now this is
crazy.
Yeah,
though.
It's terrible.
I've never seen. Listen, I'd rather deal with rain than snow. This isn't me complaining. I promise I love living in South Florida. But, wow, it rains a lot.
Out of nowhere, too. And then an hour later, it's the nicest day you've ever seen in your entire life.
And then an hour after the nicest day ever, it's humid as hell.
You're back to a category 3.
The humidity is insanity, too.
You're back to category 3.
The foggy on the windows,
My door sweats. Does your door sweat?
Correct.
My door sweats.
It's insane.
That was weird. You see your door, you close the door and you got trickles of water. And it's not like they have direct access to the rain. Door's sweating.
I'm pumping AC in the dehumidifier, by the way. Pumping that dehumidifier in my house.
That door should not be sweating. That's stupid. Door should not sweat. Not in this heat. Not in that heat. Not this heat. That was the 5% by Flagler Credit Union, of course. You open up that app store. You go over to Hard Rock Bet. You download it now. And Hard Rock Bet is your place to be because if you want $150 in bonus bets, if you want $150, you just got to bet $5 and win it. That's the key. Bet $5 and win $150 in bonus bets on the Hard Rock Bet app. Check out the stats page. You can check out where the trends are, where the money is. Check out the Discover page. You can see if they have any promo boosts, profit boosts. With a packed college slate, with the MLB getting very interesting, you know that these teams are going to be playing very hard throughout this weekend, next week, and with the postseason on the horizon. You got a lot to bet on. You got a lot to sprinkle some action on. That could be live. That could be in-game, parlayed together. Check out our Instagram at ESPN West Palm. You can see my parlay for today. It includes 2 college games, an NFL game, and an MLB game parlayed together. That's the type of fun you could have in the Hard Rock Bet app. Bet something like table tennis if you'd like. They got it all in one spot. Get your friends involved in the action. If you refer a friend, you get $50 in referral bonus bets. You can do that all on the app. It's Hard Rock Bet offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus. Physically present in for the wager. Terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888. We'll make our picks against the spread. We'll blitz the book on the flip side. It's Russo Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Get ready, South Florida. It's the 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at FAU's Flagler Credit Union Stadium. 2 of the best group of 5 teams go head-to-head in the ultimate holiday showdown. Over 150 players have gone from this field to the NFL. Who's next? Visit BocaRatonBowl.com for the latest, including when tickets will go on sale. The 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at Flagler Credit Union Stadium.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike, and if you love football, you're in the right place. ESPN 106.3 has it all. Tonight, high school game day is coming to your city. We're live from the Muck for Cardinal Newman and Pahokee. Coverage begins at 6 here on ESPN 106.3.
I'm Ellie Anajar of Anajar and Levine. Injured in a car crash? Never rush to settle with insurance companies, and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine. Our experienced legal team will fight to win you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call me, Ellie Anajar, for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
ESPN West Palm is on the move. Brought to you by Safebound Moving and Storage, the most trusted moving company in Florida. You're safe with Safebound.
Mike Rizzo here with the Sports Business Minute presented by the Florida Atlantic MBA in Sport Management Program. The NFL is back. We had games on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday. I want to focus a little bit on that game on Friday. So as we know, the NFL is always trying new things when it comes to their broadcast, when it comes to who's streaming their broadcast. Well, how about this? YouTube and YouTube TV drew 16.2 million viewers for the Chiefs and Chargers in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it was the first ever YouTube exclusive game. Obviously, YouTube TV had it as well. 16.2 million on YouTube. This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the Florida Atlantic MBA in Sport Management Program. Accelerate your career in sports with the program committed to developing top-notch executives and managers with a focus on the job placement for students and graduates. The Florida Atlantic MBA in Sport Management Program.
F45 Training in downtown West Palm and Wellington offers functional group fitness classes reimagined. F45 features high-intensity group-style workouts that are fast, fun, and results-driven. They always have the right workout for you. The best part is, it takes just 45 minutes. If you're looking to train for something like High Rocks, F45 has you covered with tailored workouts. Get started today with a promo of your first 3 classes for just $30. Visit F45training.com to find a studio near you and officially join the F45 family. F45, team training, life-changing.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Racetrack is proud to support our local high school football teams. Whether it's Friday night lights or tailgate parties, Racetrack has whatever gets you going to fuel all the gridiron excitement this fall. Grab your favorite snacks, crispy chips, delicious Nathan's hot dogs, sweet treats, or our house-made pizza slices. Don't forget to quench your thirst with a variety of ice-cold drinks. Racetrack, your one-stop shop to fuel your football Fridays.
Gators fans, you still have 4 chances to catch Florida football live in the Swamp this season. Don't miss the Texas game on October 4th, homecoming against Mississippi State on October 18th, Military Appreciation Day versus Tennessee on November 22nd, and Florida State for Senior Day on November 29th. Visit FloridaGators.com to get your tickets today.
Banyan Printing. For 47 years, the trusted partner for all your printing, mailing, and signage needs. And 2025 just brought something big to Banyan. Introducing Banyan's new press. Bigger, faster, and more competitively priced than anything you'll find anywhere in the Palm Beaches. Think variable data postcards, bulk mailings, and high-quality print on stocks up to a 24-point board. Banyan Printing. Visit banyanonline.com and discover how your business's printing materials can get bigger and better.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party. No, you see, you get $150 in bonus bets after your first $5 bet hits.
Did somebody say hit?
Whoa, Ray Lewis? We were just saying if your bet hits.
Huh. You know I love a good form tackle.
We know, Ray. We know.
Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. Roll with us. New players bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Payable in bonus bets, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
You missed any of the program today, you missed any of the show live, if you're not near a radio, you could just download the ESPN South Florida app at any time, and you could listen to full Russo and Rizzo, full Theoretically Speaking, full Inter-Miami, English and Spanish, full high school coverage, which is coming up just after the show today on ESPN 106.3 with ESPN West Palm High School Game Day. You got all that in one spot. The ESPN South Florida app is live. It's your go-to for getting all things South Florida sports. It's right here. It's in your pocket. It's accessible. It's available. Go download it today. You got Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Damian Perez on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. If you missed any of the show, go listen back on the podcast, which is on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places. Just search up Russo and Rizzo. Streaming live, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Let's do a little Blitz the Book presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Send some heat. Pin your ears back. It's time to Blitz the Book. Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Blitz the Book presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3. Hard Rock Bet. Go download that app today in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Hard Rock's really cool because their marketing department is really expanding their horizons. I'm sure you've seen the commercials with some of the A-listers. They got some more A-listers coming up, too. So stay tuned for that. I was at the Great Chef's Tailgate on Tuesday talking to Laura Heiser, who is one of the big marketing heads over at Hard Rock Bet, and she was telling me that she bikes down mountains in Ecuador. How about that, Damian? Biking down a mountain in Ecuador. I don't know. I'm the adventurous type. I don't know if I'm that adventurous, but she's been just about everywhere. So we were kind of telling travel horror stories, but she was a hoot to meet. A lot of fun.
Now,
but
did you tell her about
I did. She's already been. She already went to Pancho Picchu.
Jeez, oh man.
Yeah, I know, she's been everywhere. So that was a tough spot. But I couldn't one up her. So I gotta keep traveling.
Yeah.
We got to make 4 picks against the spread or up and down. So let's have some fun. 2 college, 2 NFL. 4-bet parlay. We get plus 1,200 odds here. Let's start in the Alabama game against Wisconsin. We alluded to it. Minus 20.5 is the line. We like this.
I like Bama. I like Bama to get back on track, Kyle. Now, I don't have to tell you twice to fade your alma mater, the Wisconsin Badgers, either. But I think Ryan Williams, who's going to be back for this game, he missed the last game. I think he's going to have a big game. Kyle, their other receiver, Bernard, is really good too. He had a big couple of 2 weeks. I know they lost against Florida State, played pretty well. But Ty Simpson getting back on track with Alabama. Let's go with Tide, minus 20.5.
Yeah, they killed Wisconsin last year. I don't necessarily think Wisconsin's going to shock the world.
It's a home game, too.
In that building. No, thank you. I have a bunch of buddies going to that. They're going to see a 62-7 final score. Another one, a team we haven't seen since week 1. How about this? Notre Dame minus 6.5 against Texas A&M. We mentioned how this is sort of do or die time for Notre Dame. I'm sure Marcus Freeman and company are making that abundantly clear to the guys. They don't necessarily have the strength of schedule to survive out of their 2 ranked matchups early in the year. Minus 6.5 here. We got to assume that Notre Dame's going to, beat them up a little bit. They beat them up in Kyle Field last year. They're probably going to do it again.
Yeah, and believe it or not, that game in Kyle Field was actually pretty close. I'll give A&M this. They got a good quarterback in Marcel Reed. He's a dual threat option, decent enough defense, but I think you're going to see Notre Dame kind of be desperate to beat an SEC opponent and a big-time opponent. We're not going to go through the schedule again, Kyle. We did it last segment, but that schedule for Notre Dame, not necessarily world beaters on it after the first 2 weeks. Must-win game for the Fighting Irish. We're going to go with them minus 6.5.
And Mike Elko, the new coach at Texas A&M, who they got from Duke just about a year and a half ago, I think he's actually a good coach. He's still learning the SEC landscape from Duke, but I don't anticipate they never win a huge game. I actually think they're in pretty good hands, but A&M, they're not winning a big game like that, especially with Notre Dame back against the wall. Let's shift to the NFL. These are 2 picks that we put on our Cover 5, which you can download on the App Store, Cover 5. We took Jacksonville plus 3.5 here. So we got 2 of my teams, Wisconsin and Jacksonville. We're taking against Wisconsin on 1, and we're betting Jacksonville plus 3.5 at Cincinnati, number 2.
Yeah, with how bad Cincinnati's offense looked, let's take a flyer. I like what Liam Cohen did in that first game against the Panthers. I liked what I saw from the defense. I'm buying the Jags at least for another week.
And the Bengals started 0-3 last year and 0-2 the 2 years prior to that. So this is 3 years running that maybe they changed things. They escaped last week with a win. But Zach Taylor in September is not a reliable head coach. So I think Jacksonville plus 3.5 here is good value odds. Jacksonville needs this game, I think, too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they'll shock people, but keep it close. Cowboys minus 5.5 to finish things off against the Giants. Dak Prescott is 13-2 against the Giants in his career. The 2 losses were his rookie year. 13-2. The guy doesn't lose to the New York Giants, and I don't anticipate this happening on Sunday.
And we liked what we saw from the Cowboys against the Eagles.
Long week off.
I think CeeDee Lamb and a couple of the supporting cast members failed Dak Prescott. And, we talked very extensively about the Giants. So I like Dallas 5.5 a lot.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing the Giants figure it out this week, but the Cowboys with a lot to play for. They want to stay in that playoff contention. They probably see Washington bleeding a little bit, and they look, all right, well, that wild card spot can be up for the taking. Maybe Washington's not going to be that 12 or 13 win team that maybe some people thought they would be. That closes out our Hard Rock bet. Blitz the book. Notre Dame minus 6.5. Alabama minus 20.5 against Wisconsin. Jacksonville Jaguars plus 3.5 at the Bengals. And to finish things off, the Cowboys against the Giants at home minus 5.5. That closes things out on a Friday. Stick around if you're interested in some high school football programming. We got Pahokee coming up next. I got you through the pregame. Christian Katz got you on the coverage. Thanks, Mike Rizzo. Thanks, Damian Perez, for keeping us up over the airwaves today. We got a packed program ahead with a lot of high school football to follow. But if you missed any of the program, Russo and Rizzo, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Mike tomorrow on Saturday, Tailgate, 9 a.m. Myself and Cade Chumsden on Sunday, Huddle at 10 a.m. on Sunday. So stay tuned for that. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Hey, it's Theo Dorsey. My favorite time of year is here, football season. And if you're a fan of football, you need to be playing Prize Picks. It's simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat